Welcome back to another edition of Gary's Record Collection. Today we are doing an album that there was a commercial for it on TV. It's one of those compilation albums. It came out in the late 70s. I remember seeing it on Saturday afternoon TV all the time. You know, I was watching the monster movies and Godzilla, and then all of a sudden it came up by this album. And what was the album? It was called The Sound of Philadelphia. And a whole bunch of great stuff on here from that Philly sound. And the one song that I actually absolutely loved was The Sound of Philadelphia by MFSB. It was, of course, the theme song to Soul Train. But it was also played on the radio. It was a number one hit. And I loved it. Let's see, 3, 5, 15, 20 songs on here. This is a great sampling of what is the Philadelphia sound is all about. One of the songs on here was actually, it reminds me of college or college reunions, because every time we'd have a college reunion, we'd go to a bar in the town, and they'd hit the jukebox up, and they would always play, without fail, Me and Mrs. Jones by Billy Paul. It cracks me up every single time I hear it.
Holding hands, making all kinds of plans, while the jukebox plays a favorite song. Me and Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones.
So you can imagine a whole bunch of drunk people imbibing on a college reunion, and they're singing this at the top of their lungs, Me and Mrs. Jones, and it was quite a sight to behold. Let's just leave it at that. It was hilarious. What I remember most about this was the commercial dovetailed 3 songs. It was like, you know how those commercials were. They were 5-second snippet of one song, another 5-second snippet, and then on and on and on. And it's like a 30-second version of the commercial. You could only jam in so many songs. And so I remember the sequence was the clips were You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine by Lou Rawls, When Will I See You Again by the 3 Degrees, and then, of course, The Sound of Philadelphia. Here is Lou Rawls. And this got to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1976.
You'll never find, as long as you live, someone who loves you tender like I do. You'll never find.
It has that great, I don't know what you want to call it, that schmaltzy sound on it. It's hilarious. It's like, is he trying to do like a Tom Jones or something like that? What was Tom Jones? Maybe Tom Jones was trying to do a Lou Rawls thing. Oh man. And then, of course, When Will I See You Again by the 3 Degrees. All of these songs, by the way, were huge for the most part. Here's another song that went to number 2 on the charts. It's that Philly sound in the mid-70s, 72 through about 76 or 7 was just red hot, and you could not touch it. And I will say that as a kid watching, the Godzilla movies on Saturday afternoon, not a lot of this music was my cup of tea. I mean, I did like The Sound of Philadelphia, and I really only knew these songs from the commercial. I wasn't listening to these on the radio. However, as the years go by and your music education expands, and you learn to appreciate a lot more of this music. These just are just great songs. At the time, I didn't realize it, but now you look back and you see that these things are just amazing. My favorite, The Sound of Philadelphia by MFSB, and you know it as the theme to Soul Train, of course. And this came out in 1974, and again, went right to the top of the charts. This was gold. This was just a huge hit. Not only because of being on Soul Train, but just the music by itself was awesome. I can't say enough about it. And you know, the other songs are on here. Love Train by the OJs is on here. You know, you just look at this stuff and the Backstabbers by the OJs. And you've got Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and this is all good stuff. And now I did mention, by the way, that I saw this as a record commercial on TV. And thanks to the internet, we have found the original 2-minute version of the record, the TV ad. Here it is.
It's MFSB and TSOP, just one of the super hits on the Sound of Philadelphia. A sensational new 2-album collection from Brookville. Listen to the OJs. And Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. The great sound of today, the Philadelphia sound, and
Groovy people, I'm talking about groovy down home people.
Mrs. Jones.
Lou Rawls.
You'll never find another love like mine.
And MFSB's Family Affair. Right On, The Intruders.
I'll always love my mama.
Hits after hits, 20 blockbusters by Billy Paul, The People's Choice, The 3 Degrees, all on the Sound of Philadelphia. The OJs. And Where Are All My Friends?
When will I see you again?
Yes, 20 solid chart-busting tunes. Why, you'd pay over $20 if you could buy the singles. But now you can own them all for only $6.95 on these 2 giant albums. A super value, only $6.95. Order now.
To order your copy of TSOP, send $6.95 for records or $8.95 for tape 2, TSOP, Box 466, Southfield, Michigan, 48037. So you don't forget, send before midnight tomorrow. $6.95 for records, $8.95 for tape to TSOP, Box 466, Southfield, Michigan, 48037.
Before midnight tomorrow. That's hilarious. It did say it was mail, but I actually did get my copy of the record in a store, maybe in the early 80s. And of course, you can see right on the corner, it's like, as seen on TV. And by the way, this is not a, you would think that this was like a KTEL album. It was not. It was actually put out by Columbia Records, Columbia Special Products. So it's a quality record. They did not go on the cheap on that. I don't know if this ever came out on CD, but I'm sure you can assemble that playlist on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your music. But The Sound of Philadelphia compilation, it's going on my iPod. I just love this. Not only because of TSOP, but there's a bunch of other great songs on here. So there you go. If you see it in the record store, grab it. It's a good spin on the turntable. Hope you liked it. We'll see you next time on Gary's Record Collection.